Friends, welcome to my kitchen. I have invited you here for this week's sermon because this is where I will be cooking my family's Thanksgiving dinner this year. Now, ordinarily, this kitchen is my favorite place to cook in the whole world. This is my happy place. I love to cook, and I especially love to cook when I am cooking for my family and standing right here. But this year, things are different because it is the year of our Lord 2020 and the prevailing color is purple. Purple because our nation is so deeply divided between red and blue, and purple because Alameda County is now on the highest level of COVID-19 restrictions, which is designated as purple on the coronavirus map used in the state of California. I should say that purple is my wife's favorite color, so I probably should be careful here, but purple seems to be the color of division this year. And purple means that I won't be cooking Thanksgiving this year at my parents' house, alongside my parents and my siblings and their spouses, my nephews and nieces, and my grandnephew and my grandniece, plus the occasional friend or neighbor who might show up for Thanksgiving. It is a large gathering that sits at table in Mendocino on Thanksgiving, and I will miss the place and the people something awful this year. But this is 2020. Things are purple. And it's worth asking, how do we give thanks in these days of division by politics and separation by pandemic? Now, I know I'm not the only person who is feeling sad about not being able to celebrate Thanksgiving with extended family this year. It is really hard for a lot of us. And beyond that, 2020 has been a year of economic collapse, a year of wildfires so severe there was an apocalyptic day this summer when the sunlight didn't make it through the smoke. 2020 has been a year when we started the sometimes painful but also really necessary work of addressing issues of systemic racism and white supremacy. Now, I suppose that the separation we must endure because of the coronavirus also means that we will be able to put off dealing with some of the political and social divisions that would naturally be manifested around a lot of American Thanksgiving tables this year. But there's not much comfort in that avoidance. It's hard to give thanks this year. So why should we? The Bible is full of admonitions to give thanks. I asked Debbie to read the first stanza of Psalm 107, which speaks of people giving thanks for the gift of food. It's just one of any number of similar passages in the Bible that call us to give thanks because God's loving kindness, God's promise of grace, God's goodness endure forever. So abundant are these passages in the Bible that in my less faithful moments, I have sometimes wondered why God has such a need to be thanked and praised. It makes God seem too human, but not in a good way. It makes God seem petty and insecure. And to be honest, it may be that the author of the psalm that Debbie read actually did understand to be a deity who needs our words of gratitude in order to stay happy. That is how people once did and often still do think about God. But it's not how I think of God, and it's not a way of thinking of God that I would recommend to you or to anyone else. Rather, when my theology and my spirituality are running on all their cylinders, or since I'm in a kitchen I should say, when all my ingredients are in the sauce, I know that the Bible's call to give thanks and praise, these are not about protecting or pampering the divine ego. Rather, they're invitations for us. When the Bible, in passages like the 107th Psalm, instruct us to give thanks, it's a gift, it's a tool, it's a coping mechanism. Or, again, since I'm in my kitchen, maybe I should say that it is the salt that brings out the flavor in our lives and has the capacity to preserve us. Salt. If we don't give thanks, if we don't find reasons for gratitude, then it is easier to get caught up in the frustration and the sadness of life. And 2020 is an easy year in which to get so caught up. But even with the pandemic and the economic downturn and our country's messed up political situation, despite the discomfort and the occasional pain we must endure as we talk about racism and white supremacy, despite all the wildfires and the sundry disappointments that are present even in the best of times, still, there are so many reasons to give thanks. For example, I'm grateful for the rain we've had, not just because we need the water, but because the rain signaled the end of the fire season and I am afraid of wildfires. So, thanks be to God. When I look out into my yard, I am delighted and I'm thankful to see so many birds. And I'm grateful for the fruit that grows on trees and the vegetables and herbs that are growing in our garden. Thanks be to God for the gifts of the earth. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for the love we share. I'm grateful that there will be a happy circle around the table on Thanksgiving in the manse. As much as I will miss not being with extended family in Mendocino, still I am grateful for my immediate family, for Anne and for Mimi and Nellie and William. Thanks be to God for the circle of love. And there's so much more. I'm thankful to be employed. I'm grateful that my children are still getting an education, even if it is online. I'm grateful for this congregation. I'm grateful to live in Montclair. I'm grateful to have wonderful friends here in Oakland and all over the world. Thanks be to God for the abundance of God's gift. Okay. So, I've shared some of my reasons to be thankful, to give thanks. Now, what are your reasons to give thanks? Why are you grateful? Share the reasons for your gratitude. Maybe tell them to someone sitting next to you, or maybe you can type a few reasons for gratitude into the comment section below this video. Share your gratitude, not because God's feelings might get hurt if you don't. I can promise you, God is fine. But share words of gratitude so that you will be stronger and happier in the difficult work of persevering during this really difficult year. And wherever you celebrate Thanksgiving, whichever kitchen prepares your meal, whoever shares your table, I pray that your celebration will be joyful and will be filled with any number of reasons to give thanks. Amen.